Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
The Halloween block party is less than 2 weeks away, and the nearly 30-year-old police contract is up for revision. Good evening, I'm Justin Holbrook.
And I'm Carter Eckel. Thanks for joining us. The Athens Police Department wants to update the contract to make it easier for the university and city police departments to work together in time for this major event. Initially, the police chief proposed the aid between both departments to be without cost, but the mayor and the police chief came to an agreement after council members and the city auditor raised concerns about not charging for aid. City Council President Christine Nisley says having a mutual aid agreement is necessary to track and reimburse hours between both departments.
What we have done is struck those two words, without cost. So there will be a cost to the university, there will be a cost to the city when there is mutual aid. And we're not trying to make it free for everyone, free for both parties at this point with this agreement.
The third and final reading of this ordinance is tonight at the City Council meeting, just in time for the Halloween block party. Ohio University will be hosting a mock presidential forum on Wednesday featuring two public figures to stand in for the candidates. David Wilhelm, who grew up in Athens, will speak on behalf of Hillary Clinton, while Richard Vedder will represent Donald Trump. The forum is sponsored by the Ohio Program of Intensive English Lecture Series. Both participated in a similar forum in October of 2012. The hour-long event will be hosted in Baker Center and begins at 6:45.
The Ohio Health Nelsonville Health Center officially opened to patients this morning. Before today's opening, the new facility held an open house this past Saturday. The open house featured self-guided tours, cooking demonstrations, and activities for kids. The health center will provide a variety of services, including primary care, urgent care, and behavioral health. The facility also features on-site physician specialists and a community room to be used for health and wellness classes.
Good evening, I'm Adriana Davies and welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. And last week we saw that beautiful fall weather, but with a warm front that moved through, Thursday night, we'll see these summertime temperatures sticking around through the rest of the week. But as for right now around the region, we're looking at 85 in Athens. I know it's kind of hot for today. 81 in Athens, 80 down in Ironton and in Ripley, and then 80 up in Columbus as well. Overnight in Athens, we'll look at 64 as our low, not too hot and not too cold for this time of the year. 66 for a regional high up in Columbus under clear skies for everybody. And our overnight hour by hour, 8 p.m., we're looking at 73 degrees. And into 12 a.m., we're looking at 70 as well. 4 a.m., 67 under clear skies for everybody.
Children's Defensive Fund has found that Scioto County has the highest birth rate of drug-addicted babies in the state. According to a nurse manager in Southern Ohio Medical Center's maternity department, 12 to 13% of babies born each year test positive for illegal substances. The Portsmouth Daily Times reports infants born in Ohio's Appalachian region are nearly twice as likely to be diagnosed with neonatal abstinence syndrome compared to the state average. Authorities have attempted to combat the opioid epidemic by allowing citizens to hand in their deadly drugs without being charged. Cincinnati started the program on September 7th, but as of now, the blanket immunity hasn't yielded results. An Associated Press review found that similar efforts elsewhere have been varied. In Gloucester, Massachusetts, one of the first towns to adopt the strategy, officials say less than 20% of the over 500 addicts placed into treatment have actually done so.
Jumping off a bridge sounds a little crazy, but not to several people in West Virginia this past weekend. Some base jumpers plunged off a nearly 900-foot bridge at the New River Gorge Saturday just for fun. As Justin McLean reports, a huge crowd turned out for them to see the activity.
For the tens of thousands attending Bridge Day 2016, it's all about seeing this iconic state symbol from a different perspective.
To walk across the bridge that you normally drive across is pretty exciting, and then to go below and look back up at the jumpers.
Each October, thrill seekers and spectators from all over come to experience the bridge in their own way.
It has been awesome. The weather's perfect, and watching the jumpers is a great thing.
Some of them are shaking a little bit, some of them are nervous, some of them are excited, and then to see them plunge and to float through the air and then wait until the last minute to pull the cord. It's exciting.
Most are perfectly content with watching from the sidelines.
I would never do that.
That takes a lot of guts.
Lots of them.
But for the ones with the guts, the best view is the one from the edge.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking, even if you've done it. I mean, some of these guys are really good. Maybe they don't get nervous, but I get pretty nervous.
Base jumper Ricky Hoyt traveled 9 hours from upstate New York just for the chance to leap off the bridge. He's repacking his chute to get ready for his third jump of the day.
So we can go any other time, so today, while it's legal, try to get as many as we can in.
Hoyt says if you can block out the nerves, it's really quite simple.
You just set your mind, step off, and you're good, hopefully.
Here for you at Bridge Day, Justin McLennan, WVVA News.
Don't know if I could ever make the jump, but there were plenty of people there for the festivities. According to WSAZ, an estimated 80,000 people made it to the event, which is held on the third Saturday of October. And time is running out for West Virginians to register to vote in the November 8th general election. Tomorrow is the deadline to register. Residents can apply to register to vote online, at a county clerk's office, or by mail. Early voting begins October 26th.
Republican vice presidential candidate Mike Pence is starting the week with campaign stops in Ohio, while his Democratic counterpart Tim Kaine plans to return to the battleground state on Wednesday. Pence is scheduled to hold rallies in Mason and Columbus on Monday afternoon. Meanwhile, Kaine will be in Columbus and Springfield on Wednesday. Last week, the swing state also saw appearances from Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, and President Obama. And Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton are both struggling to get a leg up with less than a month before the election. We'll tell you about the new tactics both campaigns are using to grab voters.
And thousands of troops began the fight to take over Mosul. What breaking the last stronghold means for the fight against ISIS. Those stories and more when Newswatch returns.
Students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
There are just 22 days left until voters head to the ballot box, but with Donald Trump's plummeting poll numbers, he's trying a new tactic. Trump is arguing the election is rigged in favor of Hillary Clinton. Clinton, however, is also facing challenges as newly released emails from both the FBI and WikiLeaks could further damage her campaign. Diane Gallagher breaks down the latest from the campaign trail.
The election is being rigged.
Donald Trump ramping up his claims that the 2016 election is a scam.
Rigged.
It appears, at least to the GOP nominee, the only explanation for any dip in his poll numbers is a conspiracy to rig the results. So despite not providing any evidence, Trump continues to float the theory.
It's rigged like you've never seen before.
In tweets, chastising fellow Republicans for not taking his claims seriously, which has some Republicans pushing back.
That the system is not rigged.
And even his running mate, Mike Pence, is trying to temper the stolen election rants.
We will absolutely accept the results of the election.
Meanwhile,
WikiLeaks!
Emails are once again causing concern for Hillary Clinton's campaign. The FBI dropping new documents Monday from its investigation into her State Department private server, and WikiLeaks releasing thousands more of what it says are campaign chairman John Podesta's emails, including more transcripts from Clinton's paid speeches to Goldman Sachs. Now, the Clinton campaign has not confirmed or denied the authenticity of the messages and instead is focusing on blaming the Russian government for the hack.
There does need to be a consequence when a foreign nation tries to destabilize an American election.
Still, new polls have Trump keeping it close in battleground states, but CNN's poll of polls shows Clinton with an 8-point lead nationally going into Wednesday's debate. In Washington, I'm Diane Gallagher.
And Donald Trump's wife, Melania Trump, is speaking about her husband's lewd comments from a 2005 tape with Billy Bush. In a CNN interview airing tonight, Mrs. Trump said her husband was egged on into boy talk.
I said to my husband that, the language is inappropriate. It's not acceptable. And I was surprised because that is not the man that I know.
The full interview airs tonight on CNN.
The man convicted of shooting at George Zimmerman in a road rage incident in Lake Mary, Florida last year was sentenced to 20 years in prison today. Matthew Apperson was convicted of attempted second-degree murder in September. In addition to the 20 years, Apperson got a 15-year concurrent sentence for aggravated assault stemming from the same incident. Zimmerman became a controversial figure in 2012 after he fatally shot unarmed teenager Trayvon Martin.
Thousands of U.S., Iraqi, and Kurdish troops are fighting to recover Mosul from the claws of ISIS today. Mosul, the largest city under ISIS control, is the last remaining stronghold in Iraq. The fight is expected to last weeks, if not months, and if the battles continues like Fallujah and Ramadi from ISIS's grip are indicators, Mosul will be a messy melee. More than 1 million people live in Mosul and are expected to flee once the fighting is underway. A UN representative says this one could be one of the largest man-made displacement crises of recent times.
America's greenback is finding a second win this year. The dollar is rallying on the rising hopes that the Federal Reserve might finally raise interest rates in December. Wall Street investors now place a 64% chance of a Fed rate hike in December, which is among the highest odds seen all year. A rate increase in the U.S. would be the first of this year and a reflection of a healthy economy. And while the dollar is rallying, stocks took a plunge across the board today on Wall Street. Corporate earning reports and oil prices led to drops in all of the major industries. Here's a look at stocks of local interest.
New healthy changes are coming to PepsiCo. We've got the details on how the billion-dollar corporation is revamping their popular drinks. That story's still ahead.
And on my extended forecast, we'll discuss the slight warm-up we're experiencing now, and then we'll see that fall weather again later in the week. Up next on my extended forecast.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Residents and businesses in the nation's oldest city are trying to get back to business after Hurricane Matthew. St. Augustine is one of a number of towns that was affected by the storm. St. Johns County was one of the areas hardest hit by the hurricane, suffering billions of dollars in damage. Now Florida's governor is asking President Obama for federal help.
Unfortunately, the president has not decided to do a full declaration yet. We don't have individual assistance. So those that are waiting for home repairs, for temporary housing, things like that, we are still waiting for the president to say this was a disaster. This is clearly a disaster. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I'm hoping the president will today make the decision that we get individual assistance, and so we can continue to rebuild.
St. Augustine is best known for tourism, both historical and beach-related. The nation's oldest city, established by Spanish explorer Ponce de Leon in 1513, attracts millions of visitors each year.
Good evening and welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Adriana Davies. And right now in Athens, we're looking at 81 degrees under clear skies with winds from the south at 8 miles an hour. Right now around our region, we're looking at 81, like I said, in Athens. We're looking at 80 in Ironton and Ripley and up in Columbus, and 79 in New Lexington and Newark are regional lows. As for today, we were way above average with this warm up that we're currently experiencing. Our normal right around 66 degrees with today's high at 84. And tonight in Athens, we're going to see 64 degrees with clear skies. It's going to be obviously warm for this time of the year. We saw that warm front move through Thursday night that gave us these more summer-like temperatures. Overnight around our region, 66 in Jackson and Columbus is our regional high. Clear skies everywhere. We're looking at 61 over in Ripley as our regional low. Overnight, hour by hour, 8 p.m., we'll see 73 degrees, relatively warm for 8 o'clock at night in the middle of October. 12 a.m. we're looking at 70, and then into 4 a.m. our temperatures will start to drop into the mid-60s. At the bus stop tomorrow morning, 65 degrees under sunny skies, That's definitely warmer than average with winds from the south at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tomorrow, our highs around the region will look at 87 degrees down in Ironton, 85 up in Cambridge and in Athens, 86 in Jackson, and 84 over in Columbus, under clear skies for everyone. Tomorrow in Athens, like I said, 85 degrees under clear skies. We'll see occasional gusty winds at the south at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Over the day planner for tomorrow, 8 a.m., 65 degrees, then we'll see 77 by noon, 84 by 4 p.m. As for our weekend outlook, we'll see definitely the fall temperatures coming back into play when we have a cold front that will move through, bringing a chance for precipitation.
Get ready to see a lot less sugar in Pepsi drinks. PepsiCo says it plans to aggressively cut sugars and calories in dozens of its products. It's promising that at least 2/3 of PepsiCo drinks will have 100 calories or less by 2025. The global food giant also plans to reduce saturated fat and sodium levels in many of its other products like Frito-Lay chips. PepsiCo is also laying out plans to improve environmental impact and promote human rights and diversity. The changes are due to consumer preferences as well as new dietary guidelines from the World Health Organization.
How much are dietary supplements really helping you? A new survey shows that a lot of Americans are sold on supplements no matter what their doctor tells them. Kim Hutcherson has more in today's Health Minute.
The National Institutes of Health spent more than $250 million to study whether dietary supplements really improve your health, and for the most part, couldn't find any significant benefit. But a new report from the Journal of the American Medical Association says most Americans they surveyed still use supplements at least once a month. Although their popularity has leveled off in the last decade, the study shows the vast majority of dietary supplements are being used without a doctor's recommendation. While fewer people are taking antioxidants like vitamin C, there's an increase in the use of supplements like probiotics and lycopene. And the number of people who take fish oil supplements has grown 9 times since the year 2000. The journal says it looks like the popularity of many supplements is tied closely to how much they're advertised, more than whether they have proven benefits for your health. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
The $250 million spent on the study pales in comparison to the billions of dollars spent on alternative medicine each year by United States citizens. Now over to Megan with sports.
Hey everyone, I'm Megan Vanslow. Coming up in sports, the Browns and the Bengals suffered another week of losses. I'll break down how the two Ohio teams have been outscored by their opponents for a combined 99 points. And the Cleveland Indians are still undefeated in 2016 postseason play. I'll get you caught up for Game 3 of the ALCS tonight in Toronto, next on Newswatch. And here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back, I'm Megan Vanslow. Tonight, the Cleveland Indians will travel to Toronto to take on the Blue Jays at 8 p.m. in Game 3 of the ALCS. Cleveland's Trevor Bauer has pronounced himself ready to pitch in Game 3. He says the stitches he needed after cutting his finger repairing a drone shouldn't be an issue tonight. He was scheduled to start Saturday but was replaced by Josh Tomlin, who led Cleveland to its second win of the series. Bauer is set to face Marcus Stroman for Toronto. The Blue Jays have managed only 1 run through the first 2 games of the series, failing to take advantage of the Indians' injury-riddled rotation. In the other championship series, Clayton Kershaw pitched 7 innings and Adrian Gonzalez homered as the Los Angeles Dodgers beat the Chicago Cubs 1-0 last night to tie the NLCS at a game apiece. Kershaw retired his first 14 batters and allowed just 2 hits in his first outing since he pitched 3 times in the NL Division Series. The Dodgers needed a solid pitching performance after their 8-4 loss in the series opener, and their ace left-hander stepped up. Game 3 is tomorrow night in Los Angeles with the Cubs right-hander Jake Arrieta facing Dodgers lefty Rich Hill. And on to the gridiron. After the Browns fell to the Titans 28-26 yesterday, the Cleveland is now 0-6 for the first time since the team's expansion in 1999. Similarly, in that season, the Browns fell to the Titans as well as the Ravens and the Patriots. Cleveland managed to slow down DeMarco Murray in the Titan rushing attack yesterday, holding Murray to just 65 yards on 21 carries. Cleveland, though, continues to struggle with injuries. Starting safety Jordan Poyer remains hospitalized with a lacerated kidney that he suffered in the loss at Tennessee. Next week, the Browns will travel to Cincinnati to face the 2-4 Bengals, who also suffered a loss this weekend. The nation's eyes were focused on this matchup for Tom Brady's regular season home debut. Brady had 3 touchdown passes and went over 5,000 completions for his career as the Patriots beat Cincinnati 35-17. Tight end Rob Gronkowski had 7 receptions for a career-high 162 yards and a touchdown. The Bengals dropped to 2-4 for the first time since 2010 when it finished 4-12, its worst season under coach Marvin Lewis. And a story still developing, 2 separate fires that broke out at Marshall University late last night are believed to be connected and are ruled arson. One was at Joan C. Edwards Stadium, where the Thundering Herd football team plays, and the other was at Dot Hicks Field, the softball complex. The fire marshal's office said there is no concern with the structural stability of the tower at Joan C. Edwards, but there are some internal concerns that he estimated to be thousands of dollars. The West Virginia Fire Marshal's Office and the Marshall University Police Department will lead the criminal investigation. Here in Athens, Ohio, the Bobcat football team was missing a little fire as they recorded their first Mid-American Conference loss of the season, falling to Eastern Michigan 27-20. Head coach Frank Solich went back and forth between Greg Wyndham and Quentin Maxwell in the first half, but Maxwell played the rest of the game, going 17 for 26 for 188 yards and a touchdown. Eastern Michigan's quarterback, Brogan Roback, was named the MAC West Division Co-Offensive Player of the Week today after he passed for his career-best 347 yards on a record 29 completions and 3 touchdowns. This week, Ohio will travel to Kent State to face the 2-5 Golden Flashes. Also on the road for Ohio University is women's golf, who starts the 2-day Dayton Flyer Invitational today. The tournament will feature 13 teams, including Bowling Green from the MAC and Dayton and Youngstown State as fellow Ohio teams. Play began at 11 a.m. this morning, followed by a 9 a.m. start tomorrow. And Ohio State remains the number 2 spot of the AP poll this week after their comeback win over Wisconsin Saturday. J.T. Barrett threw a 7-yard touchdown pass in overtime to win the game and give him his 89th career touchdown, passing or rushing, to break the school record previously held by Braxton Miller. I'm Megan Vanslow, and that's it for sports. Over to you.
Good evening, and I'm Adriana Davies. And as for this rest of the week, we'll see seasonally warm temperatures, but moving into Thursday and Friday, we'll see a cold front pass through, bringing us rain and the more fall-like temperatures for this time of the year. Over to you, Carter.
Thanks, Adriana. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Carter Eckel.
And I'm Justin Holbrook. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB. and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.